So probably the most surprising thing that happened at the Game Awards was the reveal for a God of War Ragnarok DLC. Not necessarily that we were getting a DLC, but the specific form that it took. Specifically, most of us were expecting to probably get a DLC eventually, but we were expecting like an expansion with Atreus or with Freya because they built out those gameplay systems. I don't think many of us were expecting, for one, a free update to the game, much less one that's free, adds like 8 to 15 hours of gameplay depending on the difficulty you choose, and that also is a roguelike addition to the game. Like, no part of this was expected other than that we would probably see more content for the game, but I'm here for it. Now, earlier today on stream, I decided to boot this up right as it launched and became available to everybody, and I decided to try it out. And we had a good time with it, and it's definitely not what I was expecting. I was braced for this to be a relatively straightforward and simple game mode without much thought put into it. After all, it's a free update. How cool could it possibly be? But there are many layers to this little expansion. Not only is there the roguelike element, but also there is a storyline that plays throughout the entire expansion as you work through waves and waves of enemies and upgrade Kratos very slowly, learning every time you die and reset. I know the developers said that this was going to be an epilogue for the base game, and so there might be some story spoilers, but I kind of expected that to just mean, well, yeah, it's like, it's at the end of the game in terms of timelines, but there's not really much of a story there. But there actually is. There are some real emotional beats. There's some actual character growth and development that happens. And if you're looking to see the story of Ragnarok kind of come full circle, even more so than it already did, maybe loop around a little bit extra, this is the way to do it. I was very pleasantly surprised with some of the reveals that happened, even in the first hour of you messing around with this. And also, obviously, I'm not going to get into specific spoilers, but the way that this little expansion ends is fantastic. I loved it, and if you liked the original God of War games and you want to see some of those storylines and ideas come full circle into the Ragnarok and God of War Norse trilogy, or I guess duology, this is the way to do it. I won't be more specific than that, but it's really cool what they do narratively here. Now, when you boot into the game after updating it, again, this is a free update for you if you already own the game, you'll see a listed option that's highlighted gold that says Valhalla. Once you select it, you're given the option to either continue the progress from your previous run, or you can reset it and start over, because I want to show you the early sections and not later on sections for narrative reasons. We're going to reset progress. I'll continue, and then you select your difficulty. Each of these give you higher payouts, so the tougher you make it on yourself, the higher the reward is, which is super cool. And fun fact, I actually saw a tweet from a developer over at Santa Monica Studio that said that no one within the team that's been working on this has been able to finish the final big boss fight on the hardest difficulty. They've tried plenty, but no one's been able to do it. And so now they're just fingers crossed, hoping that somebody out there playing the game is going to be able to do it. And maybe by the time you see this video, somebody already has and uploaded the video to YouTube. Maybe it's going to take a week or a year. I don't know, but I thought that was a fun little touch that they mentioned that nobody they know of on the planet Earth has been able to finish the final boss on this difficulty, which is just funny. Their recommended difficulty, though, is Show Me Resolve. So if we select that, we load into basically the opening of that same trailer we just watched after we get a little Last of Us-esque load screen. And then after this plays out, we're going to boat our way over. And again, for spoiler reasons, I'll skip past the narrative element. We'll just get right to the gameplay. And now we are here on the beach. Now, right as we arrive, there's a little bitty thing that happens. We lose access to all of our upgrades, and we go back to our basic armor, which again is very, very similar to what you would expect out of pretty much any roguelike mode in any game. So your abilities are reset and you're basically starting from scratch. It's also important to stress that this is actually a separate mode from the base game. So it's not like you're going to be able to travel here within like the 9 realms or anything and then warp here and warp back out into the open world or anything. This is a separate thing entirely that you have to go into specifically from the main menu. So now we are in this area fighting some humanoids, and this is the very first area of the roguelike mode. Now, it's actually not going to remain like this for too long. It starts you off very weak for, again, shocker, narrative purposes, but it will eventually open up and become more standard and predictable. But this is how it works, where it'll give you the prompt between two different options, and you can choose which path you want to go, and you can select which one based on your play style or just what you happen to prefer for this particular run. So if you really want to try certain pulls with the Blades of Chaos, or if you want to try to do more interesting stuff with the spear, you can do that. I like the idea of the siphon giving me extra perks over there. So we're going to continue here. Oh, it's going to make me do the tutorial stuff since I reset. Yeah, okay. Well, we'll ignore that. Been there, done that. Now we're in a new arena and we fight some more guys. And as you can see, you can swap between whichever weapons you want to swap between. It's up to you. And luckily, it's not too unforgiving if you have not played Ragnarok in a minute, which is the case for me. I haven't touched Ragnarok since I finished it last time, so I'm a little rusty, but this definitely helps you get on the crash course to figure it out faster. And then here we break in, we got some mastery seals. Now, this is a currency you'll collect as you work your way through Valhalla, and it's used to give yourself permanent upgrades that will carry with you from run to run to run to run. So it's basically a rogue-lite, not just a straight up rogue-lite, or like, I'm getting them mixed up already. But basically it just means that it's a little bit more forgiving than you might be used to. Now here I'm actually going to let them kill me so that we can see what happens next. You'll see we'll get whacked. A little bit harder. There we go. Oh, what happens now, I wonder? And then we reset, return to the shore. And when we press that button, it's gonna reset us. We go warp back, and then we get another narrative update. I also like that Mimir is just kind of laying on the ground. Like, Kratos is the one that died, but Mimir is the one that's just laying there. And then we see Freya and the Valkyrie, who do have a role to play in this little bitty expansion. Not a massive role. I wouldn't say it's like overwhelming, but there is a role to play here, and it does tie into the narrative of the base game, which is cool. Now, before we go on another run, we are going to select which one of these we want. I'm going to select Fury. We're going to select a shield now. I go Dauntless. I like that high risk, high reward parrying. And then, oh, I gotta talk over here. Hold on, we do some dialogue. Oh, and here we get a little musical performance. I still insist it would have been really, really freaking funny if Kratos had just come along, Leva, or maybe like even tone deaf, Leva. I would have loved it. It would have been a good touch. I mean, I guess it would make more sense if Mimir joined in. That would probably make sense, but it would have been really, really funny if Kratos had started singing. And now that I've told you that, you're now going to wonder if Kratos has ever been able to sing or do anything. You know what? I actually want to see if anybody's done AI covers of Kratos singing. Hold on. Oh my God, I found it. I found it. I'm just going to play a snippet because it'll probably get copyright struck, but just listen to this. I'm still standing, Kratos singing Elton John. Who knew you needed that in your life? Oh, I love it. We need a musical with Kratos yesterday. Okay, here we are. Let's do another little one. Okay, I've got my spear. Do a little parry, parry, stab, stab, stab. Love it. And then a little finisher. Booyakasha. And we'll throw that. Pop goes the weasel. And we'll blow him. New choices. Drastically increase the power of blazing surge. Okay, or increases the power of freezing throw. I do freezing throws a lot, so I'll select that one. And then we get more fleeting echoes, which are currency we use within the run itself. It doesn't carry over to the next run since they are fleeting. Topical, right? Makes sense. Okay, these are fire, so we're gonna swap to our axe. Love it. And here you see we warp to a different area, which is a little bit different. Exactly, Mimir. It's an area spun from Kratos' memory, which means that as you explore these levels and fight through these arenas, they're all going to look vaguely familiar, but it's not like they're just straight up recycling arenas from the base game, which I think is probably pretty nice. And no spoilers, of course, but there are some things they do environmentally to change it, so it's not going to look the same necessarily from run to run. Things could change over the course of your time with the game. Again, nothing specific, but things could change. But you know, I want to show you guys one of the first boss fights. So I'm going to grind out a few of these little challenges real quick, try to get to the first boss fight, and then I'll be right back.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
And voila, we are here. Just a short while later, I defeated one of Valhalla's chosen warriors, which means now I've earned the right to fight the next level, or fight on to the next level of the Valhalla roguelike path. And so here we walk in, we have Fisk, and you might recognize the arena a little bit. I need to stop talking while trying to do this. But it might ring a bell because this is actually one of the same arenas you might have fought one of the Valkyrie in the base game, or at least very, very similar to it. Ooh, whack. Oh, God. Oh, that's what I got. Okay. We're okay. Love that burning. Love the burning effect. Love it. I'm in love. Ooh. Ooh, that's juicy. Does that not just tickle your fancy? I'll tell you what. Ooh, it's sticky. Here we can choose health restore or this. I'm gonna take the blessings. There's plenty of health around. I have full rage. I can do that. I can fury and fill it up that way. And then over here we get some mastery seals, 33 of them specifically, and then we can continue through the door and work our way to the next plane of Valhalla. In this case, there's a little story sequence that I will not spoil for you because I wouldn't want it spoiled for me. So I will not spoil it that way, because what I'm looking at on screen right now, if I found out about before I started playing, I would be pretty pissed. So I will not show it to you. And without being too coy, there really is not a way for me to continue showing you more without major spoilers because of what happens next. When you play it yourself, it'll make sense, I swear. But as of right now, it's just, I can't even show gameplay right now without it spoiling it, so I'm just not. But that's the basic rundown of God of War Ragnarok Valhalla, a free update that I don't think anybody really saw coming, that is actually pretty substantial, both in terms of gameplay and in terms of narrative. It checks off both boxes and it's free, and all you have to do is update your game. Like, it's ridiculous. It's super cool. I should also mention, it also is coming to the PlayStation 4. So if you have not gotten a PlayStation 5 yourself yet, that's okay. You can still enjoy this update if you played the game on PS4. All you have to do is update your game. Shout out to PlayStation. I know we've been memeing on them a lot because they've been doubling down on all these live service games and delaying stuff out the wazoo, and it's just been cringe across the board. But then they come along with stuff like this, and if this is part of their vision for live service games, to not just like make games like Fair Games or other games like Destiny or Marathon, but to actually come along and provide long-term support to their single player games, I'm all for it. I think this is super cool. I'm loving it. I'm going to be trying to do some runs on the harder difficulty because it's pretty intense, but that's the great thing about these roguelike modes, is that you can just play for extended periods of time and you have as much fun as you're willing to put into it, which is pretty cool. So let me know if you're going to be trying it in the comment section below. I'm very interested in hearing your thoughts on all of this. And as always, subscribe and like the videos, blah, blah, blah. You've heard it 1,000 times. I won't bore you with another begathon for subscriptions. It's not like I can tell if you are subscribed anyway. It's fine. I'm just glad you're watching. Thanks for chilling with me. Thank you for making my dreams a reality. I love you all dearly, and I'll see you in the next one. Hugs and kisses. Bye-bye. Oh my God, I just realized I have a coffee stain on my shirt, and it's been there the whole video. Sorry. I'm such a professional. Okay, bye for real. Bye.